Hello, hello! Perfidious Pete here, harrowed and heartbroken as I prepare to venture once more into the scum-ridden sewers and dastardly deeps of Perfidious Manor in Darkest Dungeon. And, like Amy Lee, I will wander till the end of time, torn away from Doctor Strange, because my heart is oaken. Sweet sleep, my champion occultist, because even though it took nothing less than a gibbering prophet to engineer your doom, and even though I know that a hero like yourself would have been perfectly content to sacrifice for the greater good, I still feel as though I have failed you somehow. And the rent in my heart will never, ever mend. Just like the rent in a relationship between Amy Lee and Ben Moody, because that shit also ain't ever gonna mend. I mean, hell, those two are effectively a more modern version of Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie, which, if you're counting, means you can expect an Evanescence reunion tour sometime around their 70th birthdays, which puts tickets on sale sometime in 2047, so, you know, save the date. But potential goth metal reunion concerts aside, my sadness over the loss of Doctor Strange is genuine. Our team did everything they could, but Lucy and the Sorcerer Supreme just couldn't quite keep pace with the incoming damage from the Prophet. And things around the manor without the old Doctor, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe for that matter, are never, ever going to be the same. No more flowing scarlet capes, no more mustache oil, no more Eye of Agamotto. It's loneliness and heartbreak henceforth. But despite the loss, I feel we really should try and soldier on, because that's how Doc would have wanted it. So, you know what? Let's get to work, because while I will be penning some tragic and haunting lyrics for the Fallen Doctor later tonight, when I'm alone in my room with my journal, right now, it's time for a little fucking revenge. So let's get down to the dungeon and see what we can do about avenging little Doctor Strange. Now, the A-team, except for Brienne, is pretty much entirely out of commission, either in the sanitarium or getting some stress relief, because as you can see, stress really piled up, so I think a top-tier mission is probably out of the question. What we can do, however, is get old Dorian Gray, Chrysania Deckard, and one of our other rank 4 members and try and get them up to rank 5 status so we can, I can't say replace Doctor Strange, of course, because a man like that is simply, truly irreplaceable. But we can, you know, at least have someone struggle to fill the void, specifically Dorian Gray, who needs 12 Resolve EXP in order to do that. So let's see if we have any long missions. We do have one to explore 90% of rooms. You know, those are really good. This mission is making a very strong case for being the one that we do. Medium, Ooh, another long veteran for an item that is nowhere near as good. Yeah, all right. So this is going to be our mission then. We're going to do this long veteran mission, try and pick up these Jester's dice. Theoretically, we could take a Jester along. That's not the worst idea we've ever had. We could do Deckard, Chrysania, Dorian Gray, and Simpkin. I'm not sure that group has the overall damage potential I'm kind of looking for, though. I do like Deckard, Dorian, and Chrysania. I think these three have to go just based on the amount of Resolve EXP they have, so let's go ahead and get them slotted. We should also probably check their trinkets, because, for instance, Chrysania has no trinkets. Do we have anything we'd want to give her? That's real good. Actually, how come our other vessel is not wearing that? Do we have 2? We have 2 of those. Okay, well, that would explain why our other vessel is not wearing it. All right, then. So we definitely want to equip... go away, please. We definitely want to equip that. So let's get that on there. Sacred Scroll. What else could we put on that would be useful? You know, Camouflage Cloak is not a terrible thing. There's got to be something else that we can do, though. We've got to have something that's more... let's sort by rare or by class restriction here, see if we have any other vessel-only items. Youth Chalice is pretty good. That's terrible. Looks like it's going to be a Youth Chalice, which is fine. It's not a fantastic item, but you know what? It's a reasonable item, so we can roll with that. That'll be fine. Dorian, what do you got? I don't think Dorian Gray has any trinkets, now that I think about it. He has actually nothing. All right, do we have any occultist-only stuff? Let's sort, course, by class restriction. Do we have any occultist? Oh, we do. We have Eldritch Incense, which is good enough. We should probably try and find you something else. Let's sort by rarity and see if we have any good oranges for you. That's Plague Doctor only, Bounty Hunter. That thing is terrible. Those are garbage. That's crap. That's not useful. And that is useful, but not for you. We can't really put this on Dorian Gray. It's fantastic. It's what Doctor Strange gave his life for, but I really feel it would be wasted on Dorian. He's not going to be in rank 4, so we don't want to go that route. What are you? Grave Robber only, that's what you are. Quick Draw Charm. You know what? Yeah, I like that. The Quick Draw Charm is actually pretty good for Doctor Strange. That'll give him a chance to start marking and get marks out before Wholesale, or rather our Bounty Hunter here, gets a chance to go. So that'll mark him out for Deckard, and he'll be ready to roll. Deckard, you should actually have pretty good trinkets, right? You're our highest ranked bounty. Okay, never mind. I'm going to say Deckard is our highest rank bounty hunter, so he should have some really good trinkets, but he actually no trinkets at all. Which is stupid because actually the agility talent is not that fantastic. I mean, it's bounty hunter only. We're probably going to put it on him, but it's really not that good. The Tough Ring is interesting. This legendary bracer would be quite good for him. So what if we go with this? What if we do +3 speed, 30% trap disarm, and give up some max HP? Pick up +20% damage, +5% crit, and lose a little accuracy. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a pretty reasonable compromise. Unless we have some kind of bounty hunter only trinkets of a lower rank that are just phenomenally amazing for some reason that we would prefer to use. Let's sort by class restriction. I guess we can look for bounty hunter only. We don't use range skills, or I would consider that. That's actually pretty good. That's not so good. That's terrible. Those are for highwaymen. Yeah, this is probably about as good as we're going to do. Alright, so that's got Deckard sorted. Now we need to figure out who... Actually, we could put Deckard in a front row. We do have one more empty slot. Who would we want to take? What do you got, Fagin? You have a... you know, that's not bad. Can we do a little better for Fagin vis-a-vis trinkets at any rate? We have like an orange trinket that he could wear. Probably not that's useful. Do we have any highwayman only stuff that would look fantastic on you? We have a dodgy sheath or a drifter's buckle, both of which are terrible. So the answer to that is no. Do we have anyone we would rather take instead of Fagin? Case to be made for Murphy. You know, Ron Weasley, actually, has been doing a lot. You know what? We're going to take Ron Weasley. Ron Weasley's been doing a lot of really damn good work for us. I think the Lords of Position. So this is a named group. I like it. Yeah, we're going to roll with this. We're going to take Ron Weasley. The Ron. The Weasonator. Do we want to do that, though? Because that levels... You know what? I'm sorry, Ron. I do want to take you, but you've got your own little crew here that you need to run with. I don't want you out leveling them. We could go double Bounty Hunter. That's an idea that has some value. Or we could just take... You know what? Let's just take Murphy. Let's just grab the Murph. There's no reason to try and thwart expectations or get particularly or especially deceptive or tricky. Let's just roll with this. So let's provision our team. They'll be good enough to get this done. It is a long mission. We are going to want to take a ton of food as a result. Long missions, of course, requiring abundant food. Let's... that's probably good. 4 shovels. Everything else. Torches, of course. We're going to go a little torch heavy. We do like our torchlight. So, let's see here. How do we want to do on the torches? We got to go more. I'm just, like, how much more is more? 2 full stacks, actually, is probably adequate. Let's go with 2 full stacks of torches. And that's it. Let's get to it. Insy Winsy. And remember, guys, Dr. Strange, Amy Lee, Ben Moody. Other vague references to things I said in my introduction, but what we really need to do is complete this, get that trinket, and avenge Doctor Strange. The whole Marvel Cinematic Universe has been shaken to its very core. There will be no Doctor Strange movie now. I mean, they may have cast it, but that doesn't mean anything. There will be no Doctor Strange movie, because Doctor Strange is dead. Dead. He's dead. How many rooms can we skip here? It looks like we can skip 2. Alright, well, we've got these first few rooms that we could just sort of take in a pattern, and then we have questions about how much backtracking we want to do or how much we want to minimize. I think now is the time, actually, to go ahead and use this. I would rather have the loot. We're going to get a ton of treasure from disinfecting, or we're going to get 275 gold, which barely pays for the item that we used to do it, so never mind me. I was expecting a complete windfall of loot there, and instead of a windfall of loot, we got like a minor fall of loot. I mean, not a windfall, we got like a draft fall of loot. It wasn't an actual wind or a breeze. It was just a bit of a draft. Just a bit of a draft. Onward we go then, into the dungeon. Dorian Gray, I mean, he is enchanted by a portrait, and he does have the luck of the occultist, but let's face it, when it comes to oiled mustaches and turbans, Dr. Strange was the best. I mean, that guy had so much oil in his mustache, it wasn't even funny. It had so much oil that America was thinking about invading his mustache. That's how oily it was. It was a thing of beauty. And his turban, it was perfectly wound. I mean, if you took a class on how to wind a turban, Dr. Strange would have taught it. And Dorian Gray, I mean, he's good and all, don't get me wrong, but he's no Doctor Strange. On the plus side, Rick Deckard with his new bounty hunter item actually can't fail to disarm a trap, so traps are completely sorted for us henceforth. Do we have anybody who might consider swapping a quirk out? I'm just checking to see if anybody has any sort of substandard quirks that we wouldn't mind replacing. It looks like everybody's actually, their quirks are pretty good. Yeah, you know what? Not worth the risk. We'll just continue on. I don't think it's worth taking a chance that we lose a quirk we like in order to swap it out for an unknown quirk. Here's our first fight. All things considered, this could be okay. So there's our speed trinket paying immediate dividends. Dorian Gray with a double critical for the double kill. That's some remarkable work. Rick Deckard just going for a little shot at the Bone Veteran. Didn't quite bring him home, but that's okay, because Chrysania is going to be there to back him up. Now, it is important to note that Chrysania's damage is going to be in the toilet. Her trinket combination is not fantastic as far as doing damage goes, but her heals should be off the friggin' chain. I never understood that saying, by the way. It's off the chain, yo! You know, typically, if you have an animal, I mean, usually off the chain refers to specifically a dog. And if you have a dog that requires you to chain it, this altar is purely decorative. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, usually if you have a dog that's vicious enough that it requires it to be chained, having that dog off the chain is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, violence is probably going to ensue, and I think we whack this with the... Yeah, you know what? No, I'm just going to unlock it. I was going to say we'll whack it with the shovel, but we might need those shovels later on. I think we'll hang on to the shovels. Little hunger prompt, that's fine. We still have reasonably solid sources of food. Burn a couple torches, keep our light high.
A blazing star is born.
When our torchlight gets down low, again, now bear in mind we can camp twice, and camping for buffs would not be a terrible idea. I think when our torchlight gets low the next time, we're just going to let it sink and we'll go full on dark. If we want to fight the toughest enemies and truly get a little bit of payback for Doctor Strange, we got to stretch our abilities a bit. We got to kind of test our limits. I mean, it's the kind of thing one would normally do by like rock climbing or some other extreme behavior, jumping out of an airplane, parachuting, bungee jumping, that sort of shit. The kind of thing that, you know, like douche bros do to really test their limits, that kind of stuff. We're going to test our limits, but, you know, somewhat softer, somewhat more gently. It's more of like a pop quiz for our limits, and we're just going to go full on dark. Cultist Gladiator never going to get a go. We weren't going to kill the ghoul before he got a chance to go anyway. Except when Deckard cleaves him in twain with a 73-point damage critical. That was monstrous blow. Hey, we picked up a trinket. Which is bad. The emerald we can take. The food we can take. The trinket is worth cash. Do we have anybody who has an empty trinket slot? Like, an empty... We do not. Do we want to drop something in favor of this, which is worth 750 gold? You know, the answer? No, I don't think so. Honestly, we would probably wind up discarding that at a later time anyway for actual loot. No fight in here. Alright, our torchlight is not down to 50. When we get down to 50, I am actually going to snuff my torch. I've mentioned numerous times that it's a bad idea to fight between 50 and 1 light. That's actually... Anywhere between 50 and 1 is where things are the most advantageous for the monsters and least advantageous for the player. So I try to stay out of that range whenever possible. You know what? Just give me a finish in there. 12 damage is good. It's not enough to get the kill, but I think... Well, never mind, I was going to say, I think Chrysania can finish him off, but with the Titanic critical she threw, she would have pretty much finished him off anyway. And let's start with the bleed here. 21 damage and a bleed, that's a good, strong start from little Karen Murphy. Alright, and Chrysania with the dodge. We might be able to get out of this without even taking damage, and that would be a very beautiful thing. 11 damage from Deckard, not fantastic output, honestly. But that's okay, we can keep piling on, and this guy... Really, we only need to get him down in the 4 zone, so he's got fatal damage right now. Dorian Gray finished him off. He'll let him bleed. Dorian Gray's a decadent son of a bitch. He doesn't mind slitting your throat and then sitting there watching quietly as you slowly bleed your life's blood into the floor. I mean, Dorian Gray is a twisted fucker. He'll do that kind of shit. What would we want to get rid of here? Theoretically, torches.
The light, the promise
Yeah,
of safety.
alright, so this is questionable. That was a questionable move. We did want to fight in the dark, but things are going so well for us, we can kind of... Yeah, books, you can stay unread. I don't trust you to not be E.L. James. I'm sorry, stack of books. You could be a little bit of 50 Shades, and I just can't abide it. So I'm glad we did not whack that bookcase or that cabinet we saw earlier with the shovel. I have a feeling we're probably going to need all 4 of our shovels and possibly more than 4 shovels. Are we below 50? Not just yet. Probably walking into this room is going to drop us below 50. No, we're at 52. Okay. We did get surprised, though, which sucks because our position is terrible. You know what? Going back to at this point is actually the wrong move. How can we fix this? What's the most efficient way to fix our situation? Deckard, do you have any abilities that can be used from the 4th position? I think the answer is no. So we're just going to have Dorian Gay throw a quick stab. Actually, you know what, Deckard? You can do some work for us from back there. So give me the shuffle. Alright, we got the stun and the flip. Not exactly what we were looking for. And Dorian Gray is going to take a little tempting goblet to the face. I hate to break it to you, Mr. Bone Noble, but it's not going to be exactly that stressful for old Dorian Gray because temptation... It's kind of his thing. I mean, it's part and parcel for the whole gig with Dorian Gray. It's a man who knows what it is to be tempted, and also, considering the fact that as long as his portrait is still on the wall, he's basically immortal, nothing really qualifies as a temptation for Dorian Gray. He's not actually ever tempted. Alright, so you've got to move forward. All of our damage is not where we need it. Karen Murphy clear at the back, taking some unfortunate damage. And now's the time where we go for the... We can't afford to move you forward. Nope, we're just going to go for the switch. Man, our party order, I think, is as bad as it could possibly have gotten. If Murphy had... We're going to take a lot of stress in this fight simply because we're not going to be able to do any damage. This really fucking blows. So we got to throw a big heal at the doctor. Or rather, at Dorian Gray. Sorry, Dorian, but I'm going to do that. Murphy can contribute something from the back row. She can't contribute as much as we'd like, but she can contribute. Another tempting goblet. And this party, getting surprised like this is not really very good for them. Go for the kill. Alright, we took out the Bone Veteran. Granted, it was probably not the strongest move we could have made, but we can't Abyssal Artillery from this position. 9 healing is acceptable. We can't Abyssal Artillery from this position, so we've sort of got to take what kills we can get where we can get them. That was not good. Murphy getting huge damage debuffs, but still doing reasonable damage in aggregate with her AoE attack. We're probably going to have to just continue that. An Axe Blade for Deckard. The critical is most unfortunate. And Dorian Gray also in a bad position vis-a-vis healing because he cannot throw weird reconstruction from where he is located. We got to take... You come on, Deckard. You can't keep missing like this, buddy. I mean, I know you have a slight accuracy penalty, but we need better hits than this. Better hits, sir. Better hits. You got to do better. Tempting Goblet. So we may need to camp very soon because we are kind of racking up the stress. I think we'd be better off to just kill this guy rather than throw a heal. Deckard is not in any immediate danger of dying, so having him take a moment to get that kill and not take more stress, that actually helped us. We don't mind the stun at all. We can now throw weird reconstructions with Dorian Gray. Let's go ahead and have you mark. I think if he marks and little Murphy swings, we actually might be able to get the kill on that guy. We're going to patch him up for 10. That puts Deckard back in the totally healthy zone. Perfect. So Deckard's mark allowing Karen to do just enough extra damage to net the kill. I guess we'll get rid of this bandage. I do absolutely want the Sapphire. And we're going to just snuff it. Torch goes away. We're going to do some rooms in the full-on dark. Or at least one room, which is empty in the full-on dark. So this is honestly a terrible idea. The confessional, we have no need for additional quirks. We can disarm this trap, of course, for free. Deckard picking up a nice little disarm for us. This room is fully empty. At this point, though, it only is advantageous to us to explore it. I think we camp here. Since we're going to be doing backtracking, I don't want to be doing a bunch of backtracking in the stinky darkness. Because we're going to get more stress just for walking around in the darkness. We should probably try and avoid that. So this is how we do it. Can you do that to yourself? You cannot. Better give that to the Murph then. And we're going to bless because that's plus accuracy. Deckard does have a bit of a penalty thanks to some of his trinkets. We're going to sharpen our spear, of course. We don't really need to concentrate on stress relief so much. Dark Ritual. Nobody's really injured that badly. Dark Strength would be quite good. It does give Dorian an extra 15 stress, but he seems like the kind of guy who would willingly conduct a Dark Ritual. And we could abandon hope. How much stress do you... Yeah, you know what? Let's abandon hope. Not a huge aggregate stress heal, but it is some. We have enough time for one chant or one encourage. Honestly, I think we'd be better off to encourage. Let's encourage Deckard since he has the most stress. And that's going to be it for our time allotment. Particularly profitable with one time. We could reject the gods, but it's probably a net loss for us. Yeah, it's actually at this point a net loss, so let's just rest. No point in rejecting gods at this time. I mean, they already know they've been thoroughly rejected. Karen Murphy has repudiated many a god in her day. I mean, seriously, like, Odin is just one of the gods she's repudiated. Odin, I think, possibly... possibly... Pluto, maybe? I don't know. The Greek god of death, I think she may have repudiated him as well. Definitely some Valkyries. The Hellhound, of course, who may or may not be a god. Of course, Ivy, she's taken the task before, who, again, may or may not be a god. A lot of pseudo-gods or demigods in the whole Dresden verse there, and Karen has pretty much stood up to every goddamn one of them. Mab, possibly again. Also, Titania, again, possibly. You never know. Anyway, Dorian Gray, let's continue on. We've probably talked about Dresden enough. Let's continue backtracking. And really, the whole point of the camp was to get those buffs, because we're going to pull back into full darkness for the next few rooms. We do still have another camp at the end. This is a long dungeon getting us 2 campfires. We've got another potential camp if we need it for stress relief at the end of the mission. As soon as we dip below 50 total, we're going to go full on dark. This switch is not that problematic for us, really. Yeah, that's fine. Dorian Gray is going to show a little of his true colors there and fade back too. A little bit of chicken shittery right there, but we need to get Murphy back to the fore. Let's have Murphy just hack up a conscript, taking him down. You know, we could probably just straight up kill this guy. Yeah, we definitely can straight up kill that guy. So Rick Deckard bringing the pain right there. We don't necessarily need any heals at the moment. We're down, what, like 2 total health, which isn't much. There we go. Kills all around, enemy defeated. 775 gold as well as another emerald, which is definitively a positive for us, and we're under 50 light. This one's for you, Dr. Strange. This is the equivalent of pouring one out for my homie. Also, if you two could switch back into your normal places, we'd all appreciate it. Gonna throw this holy water in the decorative urn. Let's see what comes out. Sweet, sweet cashish. That's what comes out. We don't need busts. Why is Dorian Gray still flagged to swap? We could undo that. There we go. Now, we can skip 2 rooms. So the question is, do we want to dip down here, skip these 2, and then head up? Or, yeah, you know what? I would prefer to backtrack as little as possible. I think I am going to do that. Especially since we're in the darkness, recovering ground we've already covered. Has the opportunity for the extra random stress, and that will be maximized given our full darkness. As you can see, we got 5 from just the random walking around tick. So we're going to take just 1 little pip down here, then we're going to immediately double back. We can skip 2 rooms, we're going to skip 2 rooms. Dorian Gray taking 9 damage, that's a little unfortunate. We did find another urn, but we're out of holy water. We can always just check it out. Sentimental gifts, and those are some very good sentimental gifts. I mean, if you're into giving sentimental gifts, these are the kind of gifts you want to find. 2,000 gold worth of ruby right there. That's fucking windfall. That's an actual windfall, not the draft fall we found before. I really hate these bone commanders a lot. So Dorian Gray starting things up. Theoretically, you know, we probably should have started that with a mark for Dorian. It would have been better to have him mark for our bounty hunter, now that I think about it. Would have been a stronger play. Alright, well, Karen Murphy making up for a little bit of suboptimal play with a fantastic shot. And Deckard, holy crap, the Bone Commander goes down before he even gets a chance to swing. Back-to-back criticals from our team. That was a fucking savage sack beating right there. I mean, these guys came and said, hey, you know, I heard you're that drunken posse, what can I do to help? He said, well, here's a sack, can you swing a sack of doorknobs? You gotta supply your own knobs. Let me tell you, Deckard and Murphy, They brought their own fucking knobs. They weren't dicking around. They said, you gotta supply your own knobs. They were like, oh, you know, I got a whole dump truck full of doorknobs right here, so its heavy sack beatings are up an alarming 400% now. That is some very good trinketing. I've actually never seen this item before. Plus 15 dodge, minus 5. That's really good. All right, so we take as much of this as we can take. That thing is really good. 15 dodge. That's really useful. It's one of the first Ancestors items I've seen that I would have just am actually considering picking up instead of just throwing on a floor. The medicine has potential value as well, but I think we discard it. What's in an unlocked strongbox? It says it's unlocked. It better be unlocked. Okay. 350 gold and some crest. That's a solid find for us. So we're going to backtrack now. Only a few more rooms to go. We're still standing strong. Everybody looking pretty good in the stress department. Dorian a little slightly freaked out. He actually mentioned his portrait and somebody noticed the blank spot on the wall. They haven't put 2 and 2 together yet, but they have some pieces of the puzzle that they would need to solve the enigma that is Dorian Gray, and Dorian's just not really down for that. We're just going to leave that. We don't have room to carry an extra torch. We also have 8 torches and a maximum of 4 rooms left to go, so probably we don't necessarily need it either. Looks like most of these rooms are going to be empty. Good. All right. So the full-on darkness paying dividends, picking us up the Ancestor's coat, which is, again, a trinket that, shockingly, I actually find myself willing to use. So Deckard has a compulsion that forces him to touch this, and that just gives him an extra 20% damage. So Deckard is hitting real hard at the moment. Real hard. Looks, no thank you. Again, always the chance that one runs into a little E.L. James, and we simply can't have that. I mean, it's untenable. That's unreadable garbage. I'd rather read the back of a cereal box. I really would. It's coming from someone who actually does occasionally read the backs of cereal boxes when seated at the table and eating cereal. So they're better writing. They're just higher quality than anything E.L. James has ever produced. Oh, come on, man. Deckard, don't bonus on you, piece of shit, Deckard. All right, what has Deckard got that's compelling him to do that? It's a guilty conscience. Well, that shit has got to go then. The gambling, we can deal with the out-of-control fucking degenerate gambling. I mean, that just costs us money, and money we can afford, but the guilty conscience, that could completely bonus on a mission, so that shit has got to go. Again, theoretically, you probably could have started this off with a mark, but in this case, I think the Abyssal Artillery is probably the smarter choice. We'll just go ahead and have Deckard mark his own target, and then we'll kill that Bone Bulwark with his swing on the next round. Unless he gets pushed to the back of the group, which he pretty much just did. Actually, I think Deckard can still swing from there with Collect Bounty. He's taking a little bit of damage, but nothing we can't deal with. A little Ren for the Old Gods, Karen Murphy. Doesn't really give 2 terrible fucks about the Old Gods. You know what? Go ahead. Oh, you can't hit that guy with that. Well, kill this Cultist Enchantress, actually. We would like her to die. Bleeding, but not quite fatal damage yet. We don't really need heals. If we win this fight, we're done in the dungeon. I think we can forego healing here in the interest of picking up a little extra damage. We would love to get another Abyssal Artillery off. Okay, now we got to start healing. Another Ren for the Old Gods. So Murphy picking up back-to-back bleeds. Murphy bleeding 4 around now. We've got the stack on. Holy shit, Deckard. That was a shot, sir. 86. That may be the single biggest shot I've ever seen. 86 damage in a single hit. I'm fairly certain that's the largest single target damage I've ever seen. How much health does this guy got left? Too much. That's the answer. I was curious if he was going to bleed to death. We wouldn't have swung at him, but he was not going to bleed to death. So we're going to throw the mark here and see if Dorian can help Rick Deckard do that thing he do one more time. Usually Liv Tyler and Ethan Embry are involved in doing that thing you do, but in this case, it's just sort of a pointing at him and saying, hey, get that guy. Also less Tom Hanks involved this way. Alright, so we got a win. That's dungeon complete, and pretty good loot. We don't need the deeds. I would like to take the crest. You know what? That's dungeon complete. What do we want to get rid of? We want to get rid of this shovel and these torches. We can take the crest, which we need, and we can take the gold, and the deeds we'll throw on the floor. That's end of dungeon. What is this thing again? Holy Fountain has a chance for stress relief. Let's have Dorian Gray check it out. That's a slight stress relief and a heal, so acceptable. We're going to reorder our party, and we are going to use this last peak of firewood. No reason to not. some free stress reduction. The healing is completely irrelevant, of course, but let's just encourage away the stress. Everybody telling everybody else that they did a damn fine job on this mission. It's just attaboys and good jobs all around. And our stress is completely gone. And we'll get rid of that bleeding to boot, just because right now we're feeling completely full of ourselves and totally truculent, just like Muhammad Ali. And that's going to be it. End of mission. We're done. Long mission completed. We picked up the Jester Dice, which is a pretty damn good item. And quite a bit of fucking cash. That's 21,000 and change. Actually, 22,000 and change. That's a strong little payday. Granted, no amount of money, of course, can replace the fallen Doctor Strange, but picking up 8 Resolve EXP for a large mission, or long mission rather, goes quite a long way towards helping Dorian Gray start filling in for Doctor Strange, so no amount of money can replace him, but it certainly doesn't hurt. Or if you're picking up Clotter, which is solid, Stress Faster is eh. Warrior of Light is pretty damn strong. Nervous we'll just get rid of, even though it's not terrifyingly crippling. So, Candy exits the brothel with a skip in her step after a memorable evening. I told her about Cindy last episode. That's Cindy with an S, and she apparently listened. Half-Cock Jack brought about more debauchery than memories, only he now has syphilis, which is fucking too perfectly ironic. Darkest Dungeon taking an opportunity to make art imitate art by giving Half-Cock Jack syphilis, which oddly enough is the treatment, or rather the disease Jack was seeking treatment for that got him the moniker Half-Cock Jack. He did engage in Pleasure of the Flesh and recovered 100 stress. Lucy got rid of all her stress. Roderick, Abby, Maddie also. 0 stress all around. Persania and Deckard, of course, picking up promotions. And we only have, what, like 3 bosses left to go? Swine God, Brigand 16-pounder, and Formless Flesh. Probably one of which we'll take a swing at on our next mission. But we do have, in the meantime, a few trips to the sanitarium to make specifically for Half-Cock Jack, because syphilis has fucking terrible penalties and we want that shit gone. And Dorian Gray, of course, also picking up Nervous. We want to get rid of that. And let's grab old Rick Deckard here, and we're going to get rid of Guilty Conscience as well. Nobody else really needs stress relief. And we could take a swing at a boss next time, but also we could take a shot at getting Katniss Bruenor and Susan McAllister leveled up. Really, we're only caring about Garrett and Katniss, or theoretically Bruenor, Garrett, and Katniss. Susan McAllister is tertiary to the entire situation, but we need a 4th, and she's the only person who could go. So probably that's what we'll do. Right now, though, we're going to take another opportunity just to say a fond farewell to old Doctor Strange. Good night, sweet prince. Good night. May flights of demons wing you to your fiery hole in the ground where you will be probed in the butthole by Satan's triple penis. Yep, sorry, Doc, but you're going to hell. I mean, you are an occultist. You always knew it was coming, right? I mean, you knew it was coming. You made deals with the devil, man. You got to pay the thing. You got to pay the tab. You don't take a deal with the devil and then crawfist and drill that old devil in the ass. It just doesn't happen. You make a deal with the devil's going to fuck you 10 out of 10 times. Ah, the doctor. Can we upgrade? We can't. Let's take a look at trinkets here. We got so much cash, we might as well see about spending a little. The Gunslinger's Buckle is real good. It's real good. I'm going to buy that. What are you? A Holy Orders Crusader only? No, thank you. Also, no, thank you. Book of Sanity? No, thanks. Sharpening Sheath. Interesting, but no. Stunstone? No, thank you. Movestone? Also, no, thank you. All right, so that's fully upgraded, which I think means the only thing we still have to upgrade as well is just our Survivalist, right? Yeah, so we are simply 96 crests away from full friggin' upgrades, folks. And I gotta say, I think our run through Darkest Dungeon is kind of approaching its end, as much as it sort of pains me to admit it, but we'll find out soon. But right now, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap things up. If you enjoyed the episode, feel free to drop a like down in the comment section. Your support really does mean a lot to us. And if you'd like to see more Darkest Dungeon, for as long as it lasts, we post new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Right now, however, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon.